My name is Githaiga. I am the convener at KICTANET. KICTANET is a multi-stakeholder think tank that works in ICT policy and regulation, and it aims to bring in public interest into all ICT policies in this country, and at the same time recognizes the role of regulation, but regulation that must be balanced with people's rights. By the virtue of the fact that ordinary citizens can now access online platforms and be able to articulate their thoughts in a way that is actually unprecedented, because they are able to express themselves freely, as opposed to, say, when Article 19 started in this field, when it was only the media that had a right to gatekeep. Right now, we've seen that the digital space has allowed people to contribute, to produce, and to also consume. And therefore, what that means is that we have a lot of content, we have a lot of information, we have a lot of free expression, we have a lot of people being able to articulate their thoughts in a way that those thoughts get to the policymakers, they get to stakeholders, they get to people who make decisions in this country. And it's not just, like the educated ones, it's really ordinary people being able to articulate their thoughts. KICTANET has been a partner of Article 19 for as long as I can remember. Actually, way back before we even got into this digital space, I know we worked a lot with Article 19 to shape policies in this country, to contribute to regulation. And I know during COVID, KICTANET worked on a report on surveillance, on online surveillance, on just surveillance during COVID time. There was also a production of a video, a documentary that both organizations worked on. That was just one of the elements. But, there has been collaboration throughout in terms of capacity building, training, for example, on data protection, on digital security, on even how to strengthen media in different aspects of regulation. So I can't specifically say which ones, but I remember there was the surveillance one during COVID, and recently there has been the terrorism report that has been co-produced by KICTANET and other organizations in Article 19. And apart from that, we have collaborated. Yes, we have collaborated to submit, to make input to suggested regulation to Parliament, where we have engaged stakeholders together. And there are many instances of partnerships. We are already seeing artificial intelligence, and in the recent agitation for the finance bill and even for Ruto Must Go, we have seen a lot of use on artificial intelligence. And what we know is that it's going to be here for a while. So how then do we capitalize on using artificial intelligence for positive agitation, for positive engagement, for civic engagement, especially with stakeholders, and so that we ensure there is freedom of expression. So I think because we still don't have hard and fast answers, that's one area as an emerging tech that's going to be used. So I think it's up to us as stakeholders then to start thinking of how do we use this positively in a way that, even when we use generative AI, that we actually are not sharing misinformation. We are not deceiving people. We are not sharing fake news. And just to allow for our digital space to grow and grow in a way that provides that environment where people can express themselves freely. Article 19 must not forget to work with media. Because media is busy, media is challenged right now in terms of just sponsorship and funds that come to the media. No media will ever survive it if it has not done a funding or even government funding. And we have already seen that media is already under threat because they're not getting that government funding. And therefore what they have done, and we have even seen in the recent agitation, that media looked compromised and was not actually providing the coverage that we expected. Of course, there were rumors that they were told if they don't cover the agitations, then they would be brought back onto the government funding. But what is the role of Article 19 as an organization that has been supporting media in freedom of expression? I think we need to go back to the drawing board, and even as Article 19 produces this or reviews this strategic plan, there must be a way of how it's going to engage with media to strengthen media in this day of digital platforms, because media no longer breaks news. And therefore what that means is that even in terms of sponsorship, they won't benefit from that, because already news is broken on the social media. So what can Article 19 do as an organization that has been working with media for free expression? I think there are ways, either there's going to be ways of supporting journalists in capacity building. How do they engage in this digital age? How then do they refashion what they do and repackage it in this digital age? How do they redefine themselves in an age that they are getting so much competition from the social media? And I think that's an area that Article 19 can come in. Do not forget the media.